dogs starting fires, mermaids winning medals. What a weird week.
Hi, everybody, it's Weird.
This is like crazy being here. Like
Really weird tales.
Well, I got a great show for you today with some wonderful weird stuff.
Hi, friends. I'm Scott. This is What a Weird Week, a show about the weird news that happened this past week. If you want our show notes or podcast stuff or the links we talk about, everything is at shownotes.page, shownotes.page. Here we go. Season 5 episode, Can't Remember, first published Friday, July 12th, 2024.
10.
This one got picked up by a lot of news orgs, so maybe you saw this in your news feed. The curious dog in Colorado, not named in this story. Let's call him Sam the dog. Sam the dog accidentally turned on the stove and started a fire. Firefighters arrived like 4 something in the morning, and the homeowners, the people in the home, had managed to put the fire out. No major injuries. One person did receive treatment for smoke inhalation. The dog did try to blame the cat for a little while, but then there was security cam footage.
9.
David Record Breaker Rush back in the news. This is the fellow who wants the world record for the most world records, the most concurrent world records, and he's up to 180. He's hoping to get 181. So the world record that got him in the news this week, 55 balloons burst with chopsticks in a minute.
If I can pop more than 47 balloons in 1 minute by whipping chopsticks at them, Guinness will recrown me the king of the most balloons burst with chopsticks. Follow along on my journey of trying to hold the most concurrent Guinness World Records titles in 2024. I am this close.
It's a lot of balloons. That's almost a balloon a second, and you're whipping the chopsticks at a wall of balloons is what you're doing, and you're bursting balloons, and the timer is ticking down, and in a minute, he got 55 balloons busted. So now he has 180 world records, concurrent world records, and that ties a fellow in Italy. So one more record to go, and David Record Breaker Rush will be the king of world records. Next is the feat of strength that I've never heard of before. It's all in the eye sockets, you guys. Thanks for listening to this program. It's What a Weird Week, about the weird news of the week.
8.
A fellow from Las Vegas, Nevada, sets a Guinness World Record using his eye sockets. A fellow named Andrew in Las Vegas, a sideshow artist is how he's described, set a couple of Guinness World Records. It's all about how strong his eye sockets are. He pulled a Cadillac with a driver inside, 5,000 pounds and something. He had hooks. I should have maybe said, okay, hold on. Can I go back and say trigger warning at this point? I already mentioned hooks and eye sockets, but trigger warning maybe. Okay, he had hooks attached to his eye sockets, and he pulled a Cadillac car. He also did this thing where he lifted up his assistant, who weighs 120 some pounds, while he was swallowing a sword. Andrew, the performer, was swallowing the sword, not the assistant. Andrew Stanton, congratulations on your records.
7.
Should I have said don't try that at home? Please do not try the eye socket feats of strength at home. Andrew's a professional at eye socket feats of strength. Okay, 7.
7.
The fastest mermaid in all of the land is named Mia Sim, 22 years old. She's from Provo, Utah, and she was at the Merlympics in Switzerland. She has been practicing doing mermaid-type events for many years, and that practice has paid off. She broke the speed record, won the speed event, swimming very quickly while dressed in full mermaid uniform. A little bit more about the Merlympics. They happen every 2 years. They've been going on since 2015. There are different events. Athletes diving down, retrieving trash in the water. Athletes doing sort of like mermaid ballet. That's called figures. Athletes doing underwater posing, which is the mermaid has to pose for a picture and then swim away. Also, there is rescue. That's where You're not rescuing a human being, but a simulated human being rescue. Much like didn't the Little Mermaid rescue Prince Eric? Do I have that right? And then the speed record is a 50-meter race. And Mia Sim is the fastest mermaid. Up next, what do you do if you're a police officer? You pull a vehicle over for some sort of moving violation, and there's no driver in there. That story next. Thanks for listening to the What a Weird Week show. Weird news.
6,
This occurred in Phoenix, Arizona, United States of America, where a driverless taxi was pulled over. It was going the wrong way in a construction zone. I'm not exactly sure how you get it has to be, see where I live, we don't have any of this high-tech stuff. There must be something in the programming where it's like, police officer, pull over. Somehow the vehicle was pulled over. Police officer walks up to the car. You're going the wrong way in a construction zone. And there's nobody in the car. It's a robot taxi. And so what do you do in that case? It's a brave new world. You know what you have to do is you have to talk to customer service. That's what the officer did. It's built into the programming, I guess also similar to how a vehicle will pull over for authorities. It's built into the programming that when you go to the driver's side window and say, "Greetings, robot taxi," or perhaps some other salutation, the robot taxi automatically calls customer service. The company behind the driverless taxi says there was inconsistent signage, is their statement. That's part of the quote from the article. We link to the whole article on our show notes page, shownotes.page, if you want to go that way. What everybody wants to know, who pays the ticket? Does the robot go to robot court? What is going to happen next? No citations were issued. The vehicle was made to pull over and park. Part of the robot uprising, you guys. They're already getting away with stuff.
5,
This one is from the Good News Network. They wrote this week about some garden gnomes getting returned after a kidnapping in Kelowna, BC, Canada, North America, planet Earth. A kidnapping where a man's garden, or gnome napping where a man's 10 garden gnomes. A man who owns 10 garden gnomes had the gnomes napped. It was Grand Theft Gnome, maybe. No, gnome napping, which is better? Vote in the comments. Grand Theft Gnome or gnome napping. So that happened in June, and the fellow was, what would you think? Lousy kids or whatever. The world is going to heck in a handbasket. So then he gets a knock at the door, and there's this lady delivering an envelope. She didn't have, the fellow's name is Kelly. The lady didn't really have any answers for Kelly, but he opens up the envelope. There's a note inside from the Gnome Restoration Society. This is Kelowna, BC. Not an enormous burg, you know what I mean? But anyway, beautiful part of the country of Canada. The Gnome Restoration Society was returning the gnomes fully restored. They had been painted and they look like new. And Kelly isn't even mad. He was missing the gnomes for a while. He had already, come to terms with the fact they were gone. And then they get returned good as new. He's not even mad. I don't know, you guys. No further investigation on this one. Case closed. Nobody wants to investigate the mysterious gnome nappers of BC, so they get away with another one. Okay, up next, a cautionary tale. I would think twice before going to the beach with any sort of floaty. After reading this headline, that story is next. Thanks for listening to What a Weird Week. We do weird news of the week.
4,
A lady made news in Japan this week after swimming at a beach with some sort of floaty and getting swept out to sea, 50 miles out to sea. She was reported missing at sea Monday night, was spotted by a cargo ship on Wednesday. A couple of crew members from a cargo ship jumped in to save the lady. Lady taken to hospital. She didn't even have to stay at the hospital. This is some sort of miracle, you guys. She was okay. A little bit dehydrated, but they didn't even keep her overnight at the hospital. So that is a cautionary tale. If you are somewhere where you can get to a beach and you have some sort of super fun floaty, think twice. Where I am, they warn people, be careful with your floaty because the wind whips up and before you know it, you're going to Prince Edward Island. What happened? So please be safe this summer.
3,
I don't know if you saw the story from Yahoo News this week, still a news source, Yahoo News. They ran a feature about how big hobby horsing is in Finland. So hobby horsing, it takes place in an arena. Looks like a small equestrian course, but it's people doing the course while pretending to ride a hobby horse or, the horse head on a stick. This is a judged event. It looks absolutely exhausting. The article says they had over 200 competitors from 22 countries. One of the competitors, if you're like, explain to me what this is, one of the competitors in the article is quoted as saying, in hobby horsing, my legs are the horse. I am both horse and human. This is not like a whimsical story. It gets into how many of the competitors were either bullied or felt some sort of peer pressure to not do hobby horsing.
I think that's the main reason that puts us together, because we have each other's backs and we know what we have been through, what everyone in the hobby horsing have been through.
To do this course, you're jumping over obstacles and all that stuff and running as fast as you can. You have to be very athletic. It's a fascinating video. If you have a chance to click the thing, shownotes.page, hobby horsing. Okay, up next, the surprising thing we learned about hippos this week. Thank you for listening to our program. This is What a Weird Week, about all the weird news of the week.
2,
A new study in the news from the Royal Veterinary College, the RVC, found that hippopotamuses can stay airborne for a substantial amount of time, is how the headline read. The substantial amount of time, hippos are large. You don't think of them as being an animal that can get airborne at all, I guess. The substantial amount of time was 0.3 seconds. Why the researchers were jacked up, I think it has to do with how the hippos run. They analyzed the video footage and they say hippos exclusively trot when moving. Other large land animals, I didn't know this, but I guess elephants, horses, and rhinos do not exclusively trot, and hippos do, and that was something we never knew before. A hippo can be up to 8,000 pounds. After elephants, they are the biggest deal, And the researchers were excited to learn that they can stay airborne for up to 0.3 seconds. Where this research will take us, I'm not sure, but maybe just coming to a better understanding of hippos is making the world a better place somehow. What? I don't know. Honorable mention. This one's not that weird. Cards on the table. It's not exactly a weird story, but it does involve, it's good news, and it involves curing a major concern of all of us as we age through nasal spray. So that's kind of weird. This is the scientists at University of Texas Medical Branch. They were in the news this week, UTMB, for their research into preventing Alzheimer's and improving brain health through this nasal spray they've developed. We'll put a link in the show notes if you want to do a deep dive on how it all works and stuff, the science of it. They have a nasal spray. It is showing promise in mice right now to prevent Alzheimer's, and they think human trials on the way. More research needed. Okay, hang on. Number 1 is next. Thanks for listening to What a Weird Week, where we count down the weird news of the week.
1,
2 male lions swam across a predator-infested channel in Uganda. These lions known to researchers, and they say it was a record-breaking. It was the longest swim by lions ever across predator-infested waters, and it was because they think, researchers believe, the motivation for the swim was they were looking for girlfriends. That's my paraphrase. This was all caught on film by researchers and then published in a paper. The water would have had all kinds of hippos, which dangerous to lions, and crocodiles in that water, also dangerous to lions. The motivation was great for the lions, it would seem, to find that special someone. We'll stop there. We put a link to the whole story in the show notes. If you want anything we talk about or the transcript and stuff, go to shownotes.page, shownotes.page. Thanks for listening. Thanks to the crew at Funhouse Radio for having us on as part of their weekend programming. Ask your smart speaker to play Funhouse Radio. We'll catch you next week for more weird news.
If everybody was